ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for NAPABA's 2013 to 2014 President, Bill Simonitsch.
Good evening again. So, this is my end of the road speech. I should start with where I was yesterday. Because yesterday I was at the NAPABA Annual Convention in Kansas City, hanging out with Pete Chung and Chris Avilinar, singing Great Balls of Fire at the Midland Theater. So I have no idea how the hell the end of the road has come already. Must have been something in the barbecue there in Kansas City. I don't know what you did. But folks, time is relative. So what has felt like a sprint to me has felt like many more laps around a track for my family. So first I want to thank my wife Chantal and my children, Natalie and Nicholas, for their love and their patience this year, because I am blessed to have you and I am nothing without you. NAPABA, it was an honor to serve. I'm grateful for having had the chance to work for and with you. I'm grateful to the board, the committees, the Leadership Advisory Council, the members of our task forces, all those who, with or without titles, give generously of your time and your efforts. I also want to thank Vincent Eng and his government relations team at the Venn Group. Much of NAPABA's success on Capitol Hill, particularly with regards to the promotion of Asian Americans in the federal judiciary and for executive appointments, has been due to Vincent's wise counsel and savvy. I'm especially grateful to Tina Matsuoka, our executive director, and her outstanding staff who work tirelessly all year long, behind the scenes, that's right, getting little credit. Tina and your staff, please stand up for a moment and let's show some appreciation for our great NAPABA staff. Now, NAPABA's work to advocate for the APA community, to promote the advancement and development of APA lawyers, and to fight for equal justice could not be accomplished without the faith and generosity of our NAPABA sponsors. On behalf of NAPABA, I extend my thanks to all of our sponsors. I do want to extend our appreciation in particular, though, to our premier sponsor, Walmart, our Jade sponsors, Mercedes-Benz and Prudential. And I also want to thank the individual members of the Solo and Small Firm Committee for their sponsorship this year. Now, one of our other sponsors is my firm, K&L Gates. I'm a litigator in the Miami office, and I could not have accepted the privilege of holding this office without the enthusiastic support of my firm and my partners in Miami, so I thank you to them as well. Now, as I hope you know, this is the 20th anniversary. That must be Wilson. Now, as I hope you know, this is the 20th anniversary of the NAPABA Law Foundation. It has funded thousands of dollars worth of scholarships and fellowships. It owes its success and longevity to the continual dedication of its very long-serving board. So if you are a past or present NLF board member, please stand and let's show some appreciation for their platinum anniversary. Wow, Don, you're right. Joseph Yao is a good-looking guy. Look at that. NAPABA, when I stood before you last year, I said that my goal was to keep NAPABA soaring in the same upward and progressive direction. In all the work I've done as president, I've asked, will this give our members the tools they need to succeed in their careers? Will this develop leadership in our own ranks? Will this bring us together as Asian Americans, or will it balkanize us? And will this speak to justice and fairness for all those who seek an even playing field? This year, NAPABA instituted several changes and new initiatives, thanks in part to recommendation made by 3 task forces that I created last November, led by Paul Hirose, Vivian Hsu, and Gina Shishima. NAPABA has revamped its organizational structure and imposed new committee requirements to increase transparency, facilitate involvement, and create new leadership pipelines. We will be launching a grant program to help affiliates financially with public service projects that are consistent with NAPABA's policy priorities. We are developing a standalone mini MBA program for general counsel and senior in-house counsel to provide them with some of the financial and business acumen they will need to take the next steps in their careers. We are creating a database of people who are willing to serve as pro bono legal counsel to nonprofit organizations to serve the needs of our Asian American communities. And to better communicate the work NAPABA does aside from the convention, we published our first NAPABA Year in Review and made more effective use of social media. We looked internally to find better ways to serve and to be more inclusive of diverse groups within NAPABA. One of the results of that introspective approach was the creation of NAPABA's LGBTQ network, being led by Danica Wada and Connie Montoya. In working with all of you, NAPABA continued its ongoing programming and advocacy, such as our annual Lobby Day, engagement with our sister bars of color through the Collaborative Bar Leadership Academy, and CBAC legislative visits. We provided senators in the White House with important information from the APA perspective, served as their eyes and ears to identify candidates for federal judiciary and executive appointments, and help guide those candidates through the nomination process. Now, at this point, I could step back, or I could be greedy. And I'm going to be greedy because I have one more thing to ask of everybody. Charles Hamilton Houston was an African-American legal visionary called the man who killed Jim Crow. He wrote that a lawyer is either a social engineer or he is a parasite on society. And so I'm asking tonight that all of you work together and work with me to be social engineers. For so long, the people in this room, people at the HNBA, MCCA, National Native American Bar Association, the ABA, the NBA, we've struggled to move the needle on the advancement of people of color in law firms and corporate legal departments. And yet, the pace of progress has not matched the incredible effort that has been put in. Victories are often measured by one new partner or general counsel of color at the same time. We talk about the problem, we educate, we create initiatives, we create incentives. We point to individuals who have broken through. We can point to companies that are changing the game. We can point to law firms that have raised the bar. Well, we all know that across the legal profession we have miles to go. So with all the hard work and all the great initiatives, is there some anchor behind us keeping us from making the bigger strides that everyone's been fighting for? And I think that anchor is implicit bias, sometimes called unconscious bias. More and more we are learning the impact of implicit bias on recruitment, retention, and the advancement of women and people of color. Now, during the convention, we learned of the impact of implicit bias in the courtroom and on compensation. Studies show that a majority associate European American with American and Asian American with foreigner. Another study has demonstrated that implicit stereotypes about litigators and whiteness alter how we evaluate identical lawyering simply based on the race of the litigator. But we are not slaves to unconscious bias. The more we make ourselves aware of the roles our unconscious plays in our decision-making, and the more we try and force others to confront their biases, the greater chance of overcoming hidden preferences. And it's not enough to explain implicit bias to people. Until a person actually sits down in a chair and takes an implicit association test themselves, the concept is abstract. It's not personalized, it's not fully realized, it's a problem somebody else has. So, I'm asking that everyone here be an engineer for social change. I ask that you work within your firms and your companies and your agencies. First, to require that all management-level employees take implicit association tests. And second, that actual implementation of strategies occur to overcome implicit bias in the hiring, career development, and promotion process. Simply keeping implicit bias in mind is not enough. If our companies talk about the issue and throw up PowerPoints, it's just going to be another buzzword that's forgotten in 10 years. But we can work within. We can help our employers work to overcome implicit bias, and we can change the face of our profession. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for a milestone year in my life. I wish the very best to George Chen and the new board. I want to thank his wife, Wendy, and his family for supporting a very good man as he takes the reins of this organization that I love so very much. Thank you all, and I will see you in New Orleans.